Oh man, I'm looking pretty old. Wonder if there's something I can do about it. Younger, maybe. Better? No. In mid March of 2026, I was in Phoenix to see a few Cactus League baseball games. But I had some extra time the morning I arrived, and I decided to revisit the Arizona Capitol Museum and the statue garden that sits directly to the east of it. I parked on the west side of the structures and walked around to get to this courtyard, and there you see the original Capitol building. The original Capitol building today is sandwiched between the House of Representatives on the north and the Senate on the south. The original Capitol was constructed between 1899 and 1901. It contained the legislature until 1960 and the state's executive offices until 1974. Across 17th Avenue from the Capitol buildings is the Wesley Bolin Memorial Plaza, which contains 33 monuments that pay tribute to important people and events in Arizona history. One thing it does not contain, at least not anymore, is the Arizona Confederate Troops Memorial. It was the 34th monument of the site, but doused in red paint by a protester in 2020 and removed later that year. That time capsule plaque, by the way, signifies something that will not be opened until July 4th, 2075. So I'm afraid I'm going to miss that unveiling. There is a free pamphlet you can retrieve from the museum, which gives a few facts about Arizona, which became a state on Valentine's Day in 1912. The state metal is copper, the state gem is turquoise, the state bird is the cactus wren. There are 15 counties within Arizona, which is known as the Grand Canyon State. The population of Arizona as of 2023 was 7.5 million. The state contains 22 federally recognized native tribes. President Abraham Lincoln made Arizona a U.S. territory in 1863, which was the year after the Confederate troops were removed. Uh, During the next 49 years as a territory, three other towns served as the capital. They were Fort Whipple, Prescott, and Tucson. It's been about 20 years since I was at the Arizona Capitol Museum. When I last came, there was no sculpture garden across the street, which was really interesting to explore. Now it's time to go back inside and see if anything has changed over the decades.
Of this country, we need legislation to deal with the problem of housing discrimination. Many points, this is the root of the problem. Because as long as you have segregated housing, you're going to have de facto segregation in the school.
I find the museum to be really quite interesting. It has that tribute to Martin Luther King Jr. and also a lot of information about the contributions of African Americans to the state of Arizona and various war efforts. That's on the first floor. You'll also find some interesting displays of various eras and a tribute to the Merci train that France ran in the United States as a way of thanking the US for its World War II efforts. On the second floor, you'll find the governor's office, which has portraits of the various governors who have served the state. The first one was George W.P. Hunt, and the current one is Katie Hobbs. On that floor, you can also find works of art by Arizona natives, or residents at least. The third floor has a tribute to Sandra Day O'Connor, who was the first female justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. That there is a suffragette statue. And down the hall in the original chambers, you can see a wax figure of Arizona's first governor and get a feel for what legislating looked like 115 years ago. Also on the third floor in the rotunda area, there are a number of displays that tell the story of the Capitol building, its beginning, its active years as a legislative office, and then its recent time as a converted museum. Here's the view from the fourth floor. You can look up at the inside of the Copper Dome, which outside is topped by 17-foot tall winged Victory weather vane. Back down on the first floor, there is a tribute to Holocaust survivors. And this particular exhibit is interesting because you can ask this video image of a survivor questions from the lists presented below. You use that microphone, and then he answers them. I think this project dates from about 5 years ago.
mom, for my cousin, and for myself.